Let's talk about water leaks. Oh boy, here we go. This is a huge subject, okay? So, as I mentioned, it all comes down to maintenance. And the more you can do the maintenance, required maintenance to your unit, the better chances you're not going to have a water leak. Water leaks are the most expensive repair that you might encounter. Water leaks can be small to very large. With water leaks, you get rot in the materials, you get mold growth. We used to sort of shrug off mold as it was just mold. We now take mold very seriously. Mold is very toxic in all 4 stages of growth. It is especially toxic to elderly folks and young children, okay? Water leaks, you basically have to open up the unit. Now we're talking more time equals more money. So, what are things to watch out for? Let's get into that. Water leaks can develop in both the loose hung construction as well as the bonded. Okay? You would think that water wouldn't be able to penetrate this rigid foam, but it does. I have a sample here from a customer's unit. It's in this tray because it's waterlogged. And if you were to feel the difference between this wet piece of foam and this dry foam, it's holding water, believe it or not, okay? So yes, this foam can absorb water. If it is rigid, or pardon me, fiberglass insulation, this is like a sponge as well. So it will hold water. A lot of RVs now, we talked about the underbelly, the Darko fabric. On the underside, a lot of manufacturers are insulating underneath the floor. Okay? It's interesting because coaches that were built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they never had insulation in the floor. And we all survived. Okay? You know, there's no vapor barrier, so having this insulation in the floor actually is more like a fart in a windstorm. It's not really as effective as you would think it would be. Another thing is we have plumbing throughout our coach. Okay, we can have water leaks from the outside, from rain leaking inside, and all that rainwater or plumbing water wants to go down and can go through the floors, through the edges of the walls, and get into that insulation. That insulation can get wet, and underneath with that Darko fabric, it starts looking like a soggy diaper, and you want to get rid of that wet insulation, okay? Which means the whole underbelly has to basically be dropped and that insulation removed and replaced. If this ever happens to you, personally, I wouldn't put the insulation back, or I might put rigid insulation back. That's just the way I see it. It's not really effective, so it doesn't need to be there. That's what I have to say about that. Okay. As far as water leaks go, we talked about lot rot. Okay. We talked about having to protect yourself. One way of doing that is to purchase a moisture meter. Okay? There's 2 types of moisture meters out there. There's a pinned and a pinless. Okay? So a pinned moisture meter has usually 2 spikes in it, and you actually have to physically stab whatever you're trying to test, and that's not great because we don't want to stab 1,000 holes into your unit. So we use a pinless moisture meter. So a pinless moisture meter is a device, it used to be a specialized piece of equipment, okay? I started off as an apprentice many years ago, and I had an analog one, which is wonderful. It works tried and true. This was about 450 bucks back in the day. Along the way, I like to try out different things. This one was about $240, and it works quite well. Okay, as now with technology, things being mass produced overseas, things come down in price. Okay, you can now get moisture meters for $90 or around that. Okay, this is a Canadian brand called Mastercraft at Canadian Tire. I've done side-by-side comparisons with the really expensive one in real customers' units, and I get the exact same reading. So even though these are less expensive, they do work, and they work quite well. It's a great tool to have. I actually recommend that every RV owner purchase one. Okay. So moisture meters will actually scan into the wall thickness about 1 inch to 1.25 inches thick. Okay, which is great. That's about half the thickness of your wall. So it's going to give us an X-ray vision into what the wall is. Okay, and there's a technique about it. The technique, okay, I'm just going to turn this on. Before we get to the technique, okay, a lot of moisture meters will have different settings. So this one has a drywall setting, a concrete, a softwood, and a hardwood. So I like to put it to the softwood setting. Okay, the softwood setting will put it into a scale from 0% to 48%, 49%. Okay, we are mostly water, so it's picking moisture up in me. Okay, so it's scanning into me. That's the percentage scale that we want to work with. So you're going to get a bunch of different percentage numbers coming at you through the digital display, and some are even audible. You'll hear it beeping at you. Okay, so let's go through the percentage. So 0 to 14% is considered normal. Everyday wood can pick up moisture readings, and let's see, that one's really dry. Okay, but 0 to 14 is considered normal. 16 to 23%, and I know there's one number off, but it gives you a little gray room, a little wiggle room in there. 16 to 23%, I would call this a caution zone. So if you're getting these kind of numbers, we want to dig into your coach a little bit more. We want to look for some telltale signs of moisture damage. We want to use our noses in case there's mold present. Okay, this is where we're going to start hunting. 25 to 35%. Okay, this is wet. Just think of a tea towel. If it's 25 to 35%, it's pretty wet. This is also the sweet spot, the sweet zone where mold grows. Mold will grow. Okay? Mold will grow with lower moisture at a slower rate if it is 36% and wetter. Okay, mold will grow as well, but at a slower rate as well. So these are the numbers to watch out for. When you are going to use your moisture meter, there is a technique. Okay, and let's turn this on again. And that technique is to take it, and it's just like a stud detector. So you place it right on the wall, okay, and you go across, and you go down, and you go across, and you go down, and you go across, and down, and across, like that, okay? You don't want to do all willy-nilly. So why this particular pattern is because even though this picks up moisture, it also can pick up aluminum. You can hear it, okay? So you're going to have wall studs that are up and down. So this is going to go along, okay, and it'll be low percentage, hopefully a low percentage, and it'll come and spike up and then go right back down to low percentage. You're going to come down and you're going to say, oh boy, was that a leak? And you come down and you know that it beeped here, and you're going to come across, whoa, spiked up, spiked down, okay, goes down. And then you come down again, beep, 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 beep. So then you can go, oh, okay, that's not a water leak. I think that's just aluminum structure it's picking up. All right, so that's the technique. You do this on your ceiling, okay, around your vents, around your air conditioner, okay. You go around your windows, okay. Now understand, around windows, if you have an aluminum frame, sometimes the framing around the windows is a little wider. So if you're getting constant reading all the way around the window, it might not be wet, okay? Just back it off about 2 or 3 more inches and go at a wider pattern. If there's a water leak, the water leak spread, all right? So you're paying attention to the beep, beep, beep and the percentage numbers, and you're basically using the theater of your mind to find out how big of an area you're dealing with. So you'll go along and you'll get high readings, and you know it's here, and you get high readings and it starts to taper off, and you're going down and you get high readings here, and then you come down, you get high readings up to this point, and basically you can map out that that water leak is here. Not too difficult, okay? It's a wonderful tool. Place that to the side. All right, this works both on loose hung and bonded construction. You want to do this on the inside of your unit. Doesn't work very well on the outside of your unit. This doesn't work for floors, unfortunately. So when it comes time to floors, you just have to get down on your hands and knees, feel around for wet spots, look for mold, look for wet carpet, stains in the flooring materials, okay? Don't forget to do inside your cupboards, okay? Open up your cupboards, do all around your corners, your perimeter. Just basically try and scan everywhere in your coach, around the main entry door, etc., etc. This works even on new units, okay? So you're shopping for a new unit and you're going along and you got this in your pocket, as well as some other tools which I'll teach you coming up, and go check out new units, see if they're leaking. We've had units come right from factory leaking already. Hasn't even seen, you know, service, and it's already leaking. And it also works great on salespeople too. You can go along and it's going to pick up your salesman's sweat when you whip out one of these, okay? All right, it works good for that. Okay, you'll get the salesman saying, well, what's that? What are you doing? I'm just checking out the unit. Thank you very much. All right, you can even educate them. Pass that word on to them and see how they react. So water gets in and we now have the possibility of mold growing, okay? So mold is, what is mold? Mold is a bacteria. Bacteria is present everywhere. It's on me, it's on you, it's on every surface, okay? And bacteria wants to grow, just wants to multiply, okay? And the mold is basically, it's a lot of little spores, okay? These are microscopic spores. For mold to thrive, it needs a home, and hey, an RV is a fantastic home. It's like a penthouse suite to them, right? They need food, and the food that they use is cellulose. So where's cellulose? Well, it's in wood. And you say, well, hey James, I got aluminum frame. No problem there. That's not going to rot. No. But what's glued to your aluminum frame is wood on both sides. Okay? You've got your interior paneling. That's wood. Your exterior paneling behind the Phylon skin. Okay? Wood. So they'll attack that. Okay? They'll attack your wood floors and your roof floors, etc., etc. And they need moisture. So home, food, moisture. Well, water leak, there's your water for you. There's your moisture. So every spore, okay, when the conditions are really good for them, each spore will actually multiply by 3,000 times. So one spore will become 3,000 in a 24-hour period. Each of those 3,000 spores will then produce 3,000 spores of their, on their own of each of those, okay? So you can see, even though these are microscopic, it grows at quite a rapid rate, okay? Mold usually typically starts off as a black little spots. Now, your unit, if you see black spots, don't freak out right away, okay? We want to determine whether it's just dirt or mold. So one simple way is if you hit it with bleach, okay? Bleach will kill mold, and but bleach doesn't really hurt the dirt. So you have to be careful with bleach because bleach will bleach out fabrics and carpets. So you got to be careful here, okay? So just place a little bit of bleach on the dark spots. If they go away, it was mold. If it stays behind, it's dirt. There you go, okay? Those black spots will eventually, as mold grows, it will turn into green spots, okay? And that's just like a second stage. Then it gets into a grayish white, like a powder form, okay? That's a more advanced stage of mold. And then it gets into what I call the furry stage. And this is the where mold it's in full growth. Things are happening. All these little bacteria, spores, they're excited. Things are looking up for them. And that's when they go and that fur tends to be, when you disturb it, it sends off the spores airborne. Okay, it's like those dandelions you see out in the field. You touch it and poof. Well, same thing that's going on there. So when you do have mold growth, okay, ideally instead of just wiping and disturbing it, try and spray it with a mist of a bleach and water solution or straight bleach. There's another product called concrobium. It's like bleach, but it does less damage than bleach, okay? So do some research on products out there. You want to get rid of mold. Now, if mold is inside your walls, well, that's when we're going to have to start opening walls and doing repair, time, money, etc. So this is where we want to keep your unit maintained to hopefully avoid all this, okay? So what does dry rot really look like? Well, as I showed you, this is a brand new 2x2 of wood. This was a 2x2 solid wood that's been attacked by these mold spores. It's like cottage cheese. This is super light, or it's like Swiss cheese, pardon me. It's super light, and all the structural integrity of the wood is gone. All the cellulose, the binding ingredient that holds the wood together, it's eaten away. Here's some other examples. There, it's just falling apart. There's nothing left to this, okay? We want to avoid all that. So you can hire a technician at repair shops to do what's known as a sealant inspection, okay? Or, here's the tools. They are available to the general public. It's readily available now. You can even buy it online. They are out there, and it's a great tool to use.